Metropolitan. The subject of my investigation is the disappearance and death of National Guardsman Matthew Johnson.
On September 28th, Jennifer Gledhill called police to report her husband, Matthew Johnson, missing.
The disappearance of Matthew Johnson, a Utah father and husband, and the arrest of his wealthy wife, Jennifer Gledhill, for first-degree murder.
On a quiet evening in 2005, a chilling call changed everything for Jennifer Gledhill's family. What began as a seemingly ordinary day turned into a nightmare, leaving behind a web of lies, secrets, and a horrifying crime. As Jennifer Gledhill's life unraveled, so did the truth. A truth so dark, no one could have predicted the shocking revelation that would forever change her family's fate. This is the story of Jennifer Gledhill, a woman who went from a mother of two to a murderer in the eyes of the law. A story that raises questions about betrayal, trust, and the lengths one can go to in order to escape their own life. Chapter 1. The Disappearance. Jennifer Gledhill was a mother, a friend, and a wife, living in the small town of Sheffield. She had 2 young children, a loving husband, and an unassuming life. That all changed on the night of June 7th, 2005. Jennifer left her house to meet a friend, but never returned. Her husband, George, thought little of it at first, assuming she'd stayed longer than planned. But when the hours passed and she didn't return or call, the worry began to set in. By the next morning, George was alarmed. He called the police, telling them that his wife had gone missing. The police began investigating the case with urgency. They quickly found that there were no signs of forced entry, no indication that Jennifer had been taken against her will. The case didn't seem like a kidnapping or abduction. It looked as if Jennifer had left voluntarily, gone on her own terms, but the absence of any clues or evidence raised suspicion. Jennifer had 2 young children to care for, and it seemed unthinkable that she would leave them behind. The investigation was turning into something more complicated than just a missing person case. What was Jennifer hiding? Was she in trouble, or had something far worse happened? Chapter 2. The Fractured Marriage. As the investigation unfolded, the police began to look deeper into Jennifer's life. Jennifer's marriage to George was initially portrayed as a stable, loving relationship. However, the truth was far from that. Behind closed doors, cracks had begun to form. Jennifer had been hinting at problems in her marriage for some time. Her friends and family revealed that Jennifer had been having a series of arguments with George in the months leading up to her disappearance. There were even rumors that Jennifer had been planning to leave George. But it wasn't just the tension in the marriage that raised concerns. It was the erratic behavior Jennifer had been displaying recently. George, increasingly concerned about his safety, had begun to stay away from home more often, spending nights at work or out of the house, trying to avoid the arguments. Friends of George and Jennifer even reported that Jennifer had been acting in strange and unpredictable ways. Despite all of this, George never suspected that things would escalate to the point of violence. As the police dug deeper, they also uncovered troubling information about Jennifer's personal life. Jennifer had been seeing someone else, another man, and this affair was not just a short fling. It had become a serious relationship, one that Jennifer had been keeping secret from everyone, including George. Chapter 3. The Discovery of a Sinister Plan. The truth behind Jennifer's actions became clearer as the investigation continued. One of the key discoveries was Jennifer's recent behavior and her strange interactions with her lover. Just a few days before her disappearance, Jennifer had shown her lover a gun. a loaded Glock 19X, which she kept in her home. At the time, the lover didn't think much of it. After all, many military families like Jennifer's had firearms, but the police would later realize that this wasn't a casual conversation. Jennifer had been preparing for something, and it wasn't good. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Jennifer had arranged for her children to stay with relatives on the night she planned to carry out her crime. She made sure they were out of the house, setting the stage for a confrontation that would end in murder. Chapter 4. The Confrontation. June 7th, 2005 began like any other day in the Gledhill household. But by the evening, everything had changed. George had finally discovered the truth about Jennifer's affair. A confrontation between the couple erupted into an argument that lasted for hours. It was a moment that George had feared for months, the moment when the marriage fell apart completely. According to witnesses and Jennifer's later confession, the argument between them was intense. Jennifer, in a fit of rage and frustration, revealed her affair, and George, devastated by the betrayal, confronted her angrily. But what happened next would forever alter the course of their lives. In the early hours of June 8th, as George lay sleeping in their master bedroom, completely unaware of the danger he was in, Jennifer made a decision that would haunt everyone who learned of it. With a cold and calculated mind, she grabbed a handgun and shot her husband in the head while he slept. Jennifer later confessed that she moved George's body, placing it into a storage container and sliding it down the stairs of their home. She then loaded it into her minivan and drove to a remote location. There, she buried her husband's body, leaving behind no trace of where he was. Jennifer's actions didn't stop there. She returned home, and in an effort to cover up the murder, she cleaned the crime scene meticulously. She bleached the walls, scrubbed the bloodstains, and even replaced the mattress in their bedroom with a new one. It was a methodical cleanup, one that would erase any evidence of what had taken place in that room. Chapter 5. The Fatal Confession. Jennifer's calm and calculated actions were not without consequences. In the days following George's disappearance, Jennifer began acting strangely. While everyone else believed she was grieving the loss of her husband, Jennifer's behavior became increasingly erratic. She confessed to her lover what she had done, telling him the details of how she killed her husband, disposed of his body, and cleaned up the crime scene. But the most chilling part of Jennifer's confession was her lack of remorse. In a phone conversation with her lover, Jennifer spoke about George's death with startling detachment. She even referred to him in the past tense, as though he was no longer a person to her. The confession, along with other disturbing conversations, was recorded by her lover, who was so disturbed by what he had heard that he decided to take action. He took screenshots of their messages and recorded their phone calls, all of which would later be used as evidence against Jennifer. Chapter 6. The investigation unravels. As the weeks went by, the investigation into George's disappearance continued. The police were still struggling to find any physical evidence linking Jennifer to the crime. But Jennifer made a crucial mistake. She underestimated the power of technology. Police were able to track Jennifer's movements using GPS data from her phone. This led them to the location where George's truck had been abandoned and the place where Jennifer had buried his body. Further evidence, including a new mattress that had been ordered just days after the murder, pointed directly to Jennifer as the killer. Chapter 7. The Arrest and the Truth. Finally, after weeks of investigating, Jennifer was arrested. She was charged with the murder of her husband, obstruction of justice, and tampering with evidence. But even after her arrest, the case remained mysterious. Why had Jennifer killed George? Was it simply because of the affair, or was there something deeper at play? As the police pieced together the evidence, the motive became clearer. Jennifer killed George to escape the constraints of her marriage and pursue her affair without the burden of divorce. Instead of going through the legal process and dealing with the financial and emotional toll of a divorce, she chose the most extreme measure to free herself. Jennifer Gledhill's story is a chilling reminder of how lies, deceit, and betrayal can lead to unimaginable consequences. It raises disturbing questions about the extent to which someone will go to escape their life, and how a seemingly perfect family can unravel in an instant. As the case continues to unfold, one thing is clear. Jennifer's actions have left a trail of devastation that will affect her family for generations to come. What do you think about Jennifer's actions? Was she justified, or did her selfishness drive her to commit an unspeakable crime? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories. We'll see you in the next video.